family member. That's kind of hard to do. Um,
I agree.
the state wants to believe that you at 19 are a mastermind and you somehow knew your way around a house that you've never been in, and you knew about a hidden key, and just, you knew about the family cell phones and all this stuff, yet you've never met them and they've never identified you.
Absolutely. I just want to say first and foremost, I've never met these people. I've never seen these people ever in my life. We have never made any contact with each other. The state portrayed a picture as me being a facilitator of the crime. When I say facilitator, I mean the guy who tied up the victims, the guy who went into the room to get the woman out, the guy who shot the victim, the guy who had control of the scene. And it's just not accurate or factual in any way. If anything, just from outside looking in, common sense. I was 19 years old at the time. If you think that I did it, and the counterpart was 25 or 26, but they also had me describe me as having, like you said, a lot of knowledge of the home,
Right.
and that's just
Right.
impossible to do unless you've been there before.
Right. And the victims have said that you've never been on their property. They were stated for saying
Absolutely,
that they've never seen you on their property before.
absolutely.
You mentioned that the state wants people to believe that you tied up the victims. Now, in what I read, the person who duct taped Miss Roebuck would have been you, right? Or Jeremy Roebuck, but they let Jeremy Roebuck go because his DNA wasn't on the duct tape, but neither was yours.
Yeah, that's a great point that you brought up. Yeah, the state had accused me of tying up one of the victims, and after evidence was gathered, and the tape was gathered, they did DNA analysis on it. There was two DNAs. One was Miss Rita Roebuck's, without a doubt. It came back to one and several quintillion.
Quintillion.
Um, and then they obviously tested my DNA, the person they accused of doing it, and with the other DNA profile, and it was excluded. And
Yeah.
that alone, I was, yes, I'm
And
just,
then Jeremy Roebuck had an alibi, but did you have an alibi?
yes, I had an alibi. I had a alibi from my grandfather, putting me at home the night of the crime. Um, However, for whatever reason, the jury discredited mine and went with the state's beautifully painted picture of corruption.
Which is crazy. So Jeremy gets identified. He's let go because his DNA is not on the duct tape, and he has a shaky alibi. You have a concrete alibi, and your DNA is not on the duct tape, yet they put you in their scope and just continuously.
Well, well, what it was is brainwashing. Um, there's documented police documents, records of when they pulled cellular devices from the Roblox pond. 3 months after the crime happened, um, after Jeremy Roebuck had been released from jail, the victim, Mark Roebuck, on police record states that Jeremy Roebuck, he still believes it was Jeremy Roebuck who had done it.
Right.
And see, that contradicts his testimony at trial almost 2 years later. And the reason for that being is because of police coercion. The police had told the victims, "We have your guy. We have your guy. We have the evidence. We have a testimony against him." You know, but what they didn't tell them is how they got that testimony and who it came from, and what type of mental state they were in. So
Yeah, and we're going to get to that later because there is a lot about these coerced statements and these people who have the coerced statements. So, is there the evidence at the crime scene? Basically, what they're saying is there's a magical water bottle. How do you this magical water bottle suddenly, like, they said that they found one person said they found it here, the other person said they found it here, multiple people said that they found it in different spots or were told it was in different spots. Mixed your DNA profile of a minimum of 4 people, and they're saying you're a 1 in 236% chance that you possibly could have contributed to that DNA. Is that the only evidence at the crime scene? That evidence per se?
um, yes, that is the only evidence per se, like you said, that they tried to place me at the crime scene, other than a statement. Um, The DNA, like you said, is 1 in 236. It was a DNA mixture profile, and as you know, as I know as well, you can never actually identify anybody
Can't
with a
do
mixture
that.
profile. Uh, yes, how it was ever allowed in court, I still don't know to this day. I don't know what my lawyer didn't fight it harder, but there's a thing called proper crime scene documentation. And since being convicted for something I didn't do and seeing all the corruption that had to go into my case in order to convict me, I've become learned on these subjects. And proper crime scene documentation is one of the most critical and important parts of an investigation. Without it, everything else bears what you call poisonous fruit. It all one rotten piece makes the whole thing corrupt. And that's what I want everybody to know about my case. It was formed off of a lie, and then in order to add and stick with that lie, more lies had to be formulated, more things had to be built, um, more. So yeah,
Okay, this water bottle, right? Magical water bottle should have never been allowed into